Good day, Grade 12 learners. Welcome to today's English FAL lesson. My name is Elizabeth Meyer, and this lesson is brought to you by the Gauteng Department of Education in collaboration with Sci-Bono Discovery Centre. Today's topic is, are you ready for English FAL Paper 1? And no, it's not a rhetorical question. So welcome, and let's look at today's strategy. We're going to unpack Paper 1, and today I'm specifically concentrating on all the visual text. So I hope you have a pen and paper nearby. You're going to need it. We will be looking at how to analyze a visual text and what to look for. We're going to answer some questions based on visual text. We will look at the advertisements, features, and of course we'll discuss questions that are often asked in relation to advertisements. We're going to look at cartoons and specifically body language, how to identify it and how to describe it. And we'll look at a little bit of humor as well. So my question to you is, are you ready? Well, I hope you are. Have your pen and pencil ready? And let's start. So let's start with Paper 1. And it's unbelievable to think that next week this time, you would have written Paper 1 already. So let's unpack it quickly, just to remind you what to look forward to. You'll have 2 hours for 80 marks. And trust me, it's more than enough time. You just have to manage your time well. Now, and this is a really important thing. Remember, you have to answer all the questions. There are no choices in Paper 1. So make sure, after you've done everything, to go back to make sure you have answered all the questions. I know this sounds ridiculous, but leaving a line open between each answer will make it easier for the marker to mark, and it will be easier for you to add more information if you need be. Start each section on a new page. Now remember, these are instructions that are actually on your question paper. So you'll see them again when you read your instructions. And remember, you have to read your instructions. So let's look at the actual sections and questions. You'll have section A, which is a comprehension, and then on this one, you'll have 50 minutes, which means you have to have a watch to time yourself, or you can look at the big watch or clock in your room. For the summary, which only counts 10 marks, you will spend 20 minutes on that. And then we've got section C. Again, this is about 50 minutes and it counts 40 marks. This is your biggest section. Now, just to remind you, there's going to be an advertisement for 10 marks. There's definitely going to be a cartoon of 10 marks, and we'll have some language and editing questions for another 20 marks. And that's your Paper 1. Now, let's start with a comprehension. Remember, you will be given 2 texts. One is a prose of 24 marks on that piece, and you will have a text B, which is a shorter visual text of 6 marks. Now, just remember, there will be no correlation between text A and text B. So don't try to find any connection. What I do suggest, however, is when you get your 10 minutes reading time, please use it fruitfully and read your comprehension. By doing that, you will know exactly what's in your paper. Now, I'm focusing on the visual text. So let's focus on text B. Now, you have to remember, it's a visual text. which means it can take literally any format. It can be an advertisement, it can be a cartoon, it can be a graph, it can even be an infographic. And as you can see, I've got a number of examples there. I know this sounds daunting, that you don't know which one you're going to get. But don't worry, I'll help you. We'll get this done. So what happens if you get a graph? And I know this is quite scary. I remember when I got graphs always, I used to hate it. But there's some nice tips I can give you. You have to study the graph. Look at what is given to you. Are there numbers involved? And try to find the biggest number and the smallest number. Can you find a pattern? Is there something that shows you what this graph is all about? Maybe they've included pictures. Always ask yourself why. Why would they want to include pictures? If it's in a graph form, what kind of graph is it? Is it a bar graph? You know, where the bar's going up? Or is it in a circle? Whichever way, you need to look very carefully. Can you see? I haven't touched the questions as yet. I want you to first look at what you're given. That's the most important thing. Focus on the words. How do the words connect with the pictures or the numbers? Is there a connection? Remember, we asked you previously, why have they included pictures? So they obviously have included pictures for a reason. There must be some kind of connection to the words. You need to find that connection. So do you want to try one? Okay, so on your screen, you will see what we call an infographic. And it says, how long does it last? This is what you're given. Now, what I want you to do, first of all, is make sure you look very carefully at what you can see. Now, you'll see it looks like round or something. And then on the left-hand side, we have a list of things. On the right-hand side, we have another list of things. And in the middle, a whole set of pictures. But let's go into detail into this. So if we look on the left-hand side, it says paper, orange peel, milk carton, plastic bag, tin can, plastic bottle, glass bottle, and styrofoam. So we can figure out this is the list of garbage or things that you would throw away. Rubbish. Obviously, you'll throw away paper and definitely orange peels, plastic bottles, styrofoam cups. This is what we have on the left-hand side. So what do we have on the right-hand side? On this side, we have time. And can you see, if you look closely, as we go down, the time increases. It starts with 2 to 4 weeks. And then it ends almost with 500 years. And the last one says never. So there's definitely an increase of time. Interesting. So what does the time tell us? Well, this tells us how long does it take for these pieces of garbage, obviously, to decompose. Now, this is really interesting because now you actually see paper only takes 2 to 4 weeks. In comparison to that, a styrofoam cup is really at the bottom there. Never. Oh, that's quite scary to think about that. When last did you have a styrofoam cup and just threw it in the rubbish? So, we see papers on top, styrofoam is in the middle. And we see we have two kinds of bottles there. We have a plastic bottle and a glass bottle. I don't know about you, but they look quite similar to me. The milk carton we can see and the plastic bag is quite clear. So, this is what you do. Quickly analyze what's given to you. Then we go to the questions. So let's see what else we have. Now, probably the biggest question I always have is, why have they included all these pictures? Why would they include all these things? I mean, we can read, can't we? So why include all the pictures to show you this is the orange peel, and this is the plastic bottle, and this is the glass bottle? And you know, and I know, and one of the questions they're going to ask you most definitely is it effective? In other words, are the pictures that are included in here, are they effective? Now, always remember, you have a choice here. You can either say yes, or you can say no. But remember, whichever one you choose, you have to go back to your text and make absolutely sure you give me evidence from the text. So do you want to try it? What do you think? Do you think it's effective to include pictures? Well, let's start with this. Obviously, the pictures shows us exactly what we referred to. So if you weren't sure what styrofoam is, the picture will quickly tell you what a styrofoam cup is. That makes it easier to understand. And obviously, an orange peel, there's a whole picture. Makes it easy to understand. That's usually why they include pictures. And obviously to grab your attention. Because what do we look at first? The pictures. But we can always say, no, it's not effective. Now, if you look closer, the glass bottle and plastic bottle looks the same. So, how are you going to distinguish between the two? And remember, this is in color. When you write your exam, it will be in black and white, which will make it even more difficult to see. I don't think there will be any distinguished features between the two of them. Now, when you answer a question like this, always remember to take a stand. Yes, it is effective. Or no, it is not effective. And always refer back to your text to prove to me why you say it's effective. You will never get the mark for yes or no, but it has to be there. I need to see what is your stance. Okay, so let's try another one. Here's online shopping in South Africa. And my biggest question to you is, what do you see? So I'll just quickly read through this with you. And while I'm reading, see if you can pick up important things. So it says, online shopping in South Africa, 5 quick facts. And then we have a little picture there, and it says 90% secure payments. Underneath it, we have a little face and a tick. 87% are satisfied with the online shopping experience. Underneath that, we have a 69% online purchases in the last 3 months. And then on the right-hand side, it looks like a phone or something, and it says 33% shop via their mobile device or intend to in the next 6 months. And then we end with 23% online shopping on foreign sites. Now, and obviously we have this magnifying glass that's included as well. Right, it looks quite easy, doesn't it? But there's little tips there, little things that you might not have noticed. Let's run through them. Okay, first of all, big question, what is online shopping? Do you know what online shopping is? Obviously, it is to shop online. In other words, you use a device and whatever you see, you buy online in the comfort of your house or in your car, wherever you are, and it's as easy as that. Now, the next thing is South Africa. So we know this infographic is all about South Africa specifically. Now, very clever. If you look at the magnifying glass, you'll see they've included South Africa. Why? Always keep that in mind. Why? Why is the big question. Now let's start looking at the next thing that we have that's important here. You have to remember it's online. And then they say it 5 quick facts. Now, obviously, you need to go look where are the 5 quick facts. And obviously, that's nicely listed for you with little pictures there. So we've got 5 facts to look for. That's quite easy. Now, let's look at the first one. We have a little screen and has a little lock in it. I don't know if you're able to see it. There's a little tick in the lock, and it refers obviously to secure payments. Can you see how the picture and the word is connected? Clever, hey? Let's look at the next one. A happy face, and it says, and it links up with the words are satisfied. Interesting. And then we have a little phone and connected to the mobile. No, clever, hey? So you can see each time there's a picture and it's connected to some of the words in a text. Now, obviously, what you have noticed, and as I said before, you had to see that we have a 90% is your top percentage, and it goes down all the way to 23%. Right. So you start at 90%, working it down. 90% secure payments, 23 is shopping on foreign sites. So just keep that in mind. Now it's your turn. Let's see. I've got a list of questions for you here, and I would really like you to try and answer them. So here's question number 1, and it's an obvious question. Why is the magnifying glass and visual 1 included in the text? Now remember, what they've done is they've included the little 1 there next to the magnifying glass, and that's what you can see. That's there. And that's why we're referring to visual 1 very specifically. So why would they include a magnifying glass? Well, it's quite easy. What is the magnifying glass showing us? Well, it shows South Africa. And remember, the heading of a text said online shopping in South Africa. So the focus is on South Africa. Now remember, when you've got a magnifying glass, obviously when you look at it, you make things bigger. You make focus on it. You make it more important. So by doing this, we are focusing definitely on South Africa. But what are we focusing on? Focusing on online shopping. Now, this is a really important skill. Always answer in full sentences, and always make sure you've given me all the information I want. Now, remember, mark allocation was 2, which means I had to get 2 different facts included here. Now, let's look at the next one. What emotion is conveyed by the emoticon or the emoji used in visual 3? And what I've done is I've included for you here, and there's a little number 3, and we have a little face there, and I want to know what is the emotion. And it's actually very easy, hey? And if you just look at the words as well, and you'll see, absolutely, it's easy one. Satisfaction or happiness. That's the emotion we're looking for. Remember to try and spell it correctly. Right, easy one. Let's do another one. Yeah, I'm sure you're getting the hang of this. Now, in this case, we've got number 4. Now, the question is, identify the percentage of shoppers who use their mobile devices to do their online shopping. Oh, this is so easy. Why? We've got a mobile phone there, and it said shopped via their mobile device. What's the answer, of course? Yes, you've got it, 33%. Now, remember, always be careful. This sounds like a very easy answer, and it is. But make sure that you include the percentage there. Must be 33%. Right, I know the question said identify the percentage. I just added just for in case. For safety. Right, let's try another one. Do you think visual 6 conveys an important message? Substantiate your answer. Now, I know by now you should know what substantiate means. Substantiate is give us good reasons. Now, mark allocation is 2, so you need 2 different reasons. Now, remember, this is a do you think? So, we want a yes or a no answer. So let's quickly go back to visual number 6. And this is the visual we're talking about. So the question is now, does it convey an important message? Now, convey means does it show an important message? Now, what do we have? It looks like a computer monitor, and it says there online shopping on foreign site. Now, obviously, foreign means, yes, you're right, not in South Africa. So, is this an important message? What do you think? Let's see. Yes. Now, what I'm doing is I'm interpreting what this shows me. Visual 6 shows me that the most people of South Africa, or the majority of South Africans, do not use foreign sites. You'll remember, this 23% was the lowest of all the numbers. So most people don't use foreign sites, and this is really important. Most people obviously then use South African sites, right? But I can always say no, always. And I can say the visual, and remember we said it was looks like a little computer, doesn't support the idea of online shopping, as there is no reference to international or foreign sites. This little computer doesn't tell me about foreign sites. So there's actually no connection between a computer screen and the fact that we're actually talking here about international websites. Can you see? Very clever. Right. Now, always, let's recap quickly. So when you get your text B, you have to ask yourself these questions. Are there people in the picture? Sometimes you'll find, remember we said we can get a cartoon or we can get an advertisement and there might be people in there. Make sure, is there people? Next question, if there are people, what are they doing? Where are they? Now, can you see what I'm doing? I'm literally breaking down a piece. You have to do this with any visual text you get. Look at their facial expressions. What are they showing us? Look at the positioning of objects. Where did they decide to place what? It's like the magnifying glass. Why did they decide to include it? Obviously, to focus on South Africa. See if you can determine the mood created by the picture. And the next step, and this is the most important one, find the words, link them with the pictures. There must be a clear connection, right? Now, remember, you have to read the words in the heading, you have to find the words underneath pictures, anywhere there's a word, see if there's some connection. Look at your pictures again and think, how do they support each other? Right, let's go to step 3. Now you read the questions and you answer them. And I think this is such an important skill, especially now when you write on next week, Monday. Just take a few minutes and just analyze your visual text before you jump into those questions. Because if you've analyzed them and you've looked close and you've figured out what's going on there, then it will be easier for you to do your questions. And remember, your exam question paper is a working document. You can scratch on it. You can link words. You can do whatever you want on that. So what I suggest you do is get a pencil in your hand and make notes, and exactly like we've done. Make a question mark and just say, why have I done this? Listen, this is linked to each other. You have to analyze your text. Okay, do you want to try this? Here's one for you. It says tips to beat insomnia. And we've labeled the visuals. As you can see, there's 6 of them. And I'm going to give you just a minute just to quickly read through or have a quick look at it. We have a big one. You see, and that's where it starts, right? You see, we have a big visual number 1. And all the other visuals are quite small. Do you see that? And right, so we have a little visual number 2. There's another person. Can you see the difference between the persons? There's a clock. We've got 2 clocks. One in visual 1, one in visual 2. That must mean something. Regulate sleeping hours. We've got visual 3. Well, there's a line crossed through that. We've got visual 4. It says Jinkamlal or lavender tea. Okay, I suppose that's lavender at the back. We've got a visual 4 of 5. Looks like a phone. And 6 look like 2 people running. All right. Are you ready? Okay. So remember, if this was your text in the exam, you had to take a few minutes and just quickly look at what you see. So they would have included for you that insomnia means sleeplessness. If you're wondering what insomnia is, insomnia means sleeplessness. So I'm sure the visuals makes more sense now. Hey? Right. Let's try the questions. Now, there we go. It starts off by saying refer to visual 1. Now, this is very important. When they refer you specifically to a visual, please focus on that one. Put your little magnifying glass on that visual and look at it very closely. Now, you know by now, when you do questions, you have to find your question word. Our question word is state. What do we need to state? We need to state 2 visual clues. So we literally look for visual clues, not words, visual clues, which indicate that the person is experiencing insomnia. Now, we know insomnia means sleeplessness. So let's look at a picture. Can you find the 2 visual clues to tell us that this person is experiencing insomnia or sleeplessness? Yes, I'm sure you got it. Let's look at it quickly. Right, remember it's visual clues, hey? Now, first of all, the guy's lying in a bed. You can see that. But he is awake. Obviously, he can't sleep. Another thing is, we have a little clock here. Can you see the clock? A clock indicates that it's quite late. But the guy is still not sleeping. Remember, we had a visual 2 where there's a clock as well. But remember, we're only focusing now on visual 1. Let's look at the next one. The little lamp is still on. Can you see? I'm focusing all on visual clues. I'm just saying it what I can see. Let's go to the next one. We've got the person looks sleepy. Now, if you look at his little eyes, you'll see they are partly closed. They're not wide open. They're halfway closed. But he's still awake. Shame. He obviously can't sleep. Now, remember, you are required to write 2. The answer is 4 possible answers, but only the first 2 of your answers will be marked. So make sure you write your 2 best answers first. Can you see, first of all, full sentences? Tell me what you see. Right. Let's go to the next question. The question is, why is visual 3 included in the text? Now, I've included it here for you. There's visual 3. You've got, looks like a glass of wine, looks like a cup of something, and there's a line drawn through it. So now that's obviously important. So why is it included? Aha. Can you see what we're doing here? It says the line indicates that beverages or things like wine, and it looks hot. Why? Because I've got steam coming out of that. So hot drink must be avoided. And this is what this little line means here. So this line appears to show us that we shouldn't drink wine or hot beverages before going to bed because they will keep you awake. Right, you can see how easy this is. It's really easy. Now, there's a tip suggested in visual 5. So I've included visual 5 for you here on your screen on top. So this is all we have. We have a mobile phone. Okay. So what's the tip? No, I know you're clever, and I'm sure you know this. Obviously, you shouldn't use your cell phone before going to bed. But that's the one thing. Now, can you see the difference between the two? There's no line across it. So it's open for interpretation. So on the one, I can say, don't use your cell phone. But on the other hand, I can say, if you can't sleep, go onto the internet and see if there are any tips how to fall asleep. Clever. Okay, so but you can see the difference. So if there was another two drawn lines drawn through our mobile phone, it will definitely mean don't use your phone. But because there isn't one, I've got two options available for me. Okay, I'm sure you understand. Right, let's try the next one. Discuss, oh, this is important. Now, to tell me, discuss whether Visual 6 is effective in text B. Now, I've included here for you Visual 6. Is this effective? In other words, is this working for us, for people who suffer from insomnia? Now, remember, this is what we call an open-ended question. This is where you have to take a stance to say yes or no. Now, in this case, let's say yes. We say, what are the people doing? Now, always pretend that I can't see the picture. You have to explain the picture to me. So I would say the visual shows people jogging. This suggests that if you jog, you will sleep better, which means you won't have any sleeplessness. So in that way, it's quite a good idea. And if we say no, well, how are we going to answer that one? We see there are two people jogging, but it doesn't tell us whether you should be jogging or you shouldn't be jogging. Because according to this little picture, it doesn't tell me maybe if you jog, it causes more sleeplessness. There's no explanation here. So as a reader, I'm not quite sure. Should I jog or shouldn't I jog? Can you see? Now remember, very important, once again, make sure you've included a yes or a no. Don't include both. Choose which one. And always refer back to your text. That's the most important thing. Right. So remember that part was part of your comprehension, your text B. Let's jump over to section C. Now, this is your language section. And in this language section, there's going to be advertisement. There's going to be a cartoon. And there's going to be language editing. But today, we are focusing on these two guys. Advertisements and cartoons. Right, I hope you're still with me. Advertisements. Now, there are certain questions that keeps on popping up in every exam paper. And if you know them, then it's so easy to answer any question on any advertisement. And even if you want to practice, take a magazine, take a newspaper, take any advertisement you can find and find these questions and ask it to yourself. If you can give yourself the answers to these questions, then you're ready. So obviously, we love asking you who's the advertiser. And obviously, what is the product that's been advertised? But be careful. It's not always a product. It can be a service as well. Well, just be on a wake up for that one. But there's somebody has to advertise it, and it's either a product or a service that's being advertised. And then it's your next step. Target audience. Who is going to buy this? Who's going to buy this, or who wants this service? Now we'll come back to this one. You have to be very specific. You can't be general and just say people. You have to tell me what kind of people. Identify the logo and a slogan. And I really hope by now you know the difference between logos and slogans. I'm sure you do. And then, obviously, I've just included one for you. Can you see this one? The Nike one? Can you identify the logo and the slogan? Can you remember the difference? So logo, because I remember it always, it's like little eyes. Logo, what you see. In other words, the tick. Slogan, just do it. Right. Very important. Advertisement always include visuals. Why? Because the first thing we want to look at is the visuals. So what are the visuals that are included? And what kind of language should they use? Remember, they are going to use language to persuade you. And obviously, they choose their language very, very carefully. Every single word is chosen deliberately. You have to know why it's there. Nothing is accidental in an advertisement. So make sure you know exactly, figure out why they have included this. Now, one of our favorite questions we always love to ask is, of course, the link between the words and the visuals. So there must be a link, just like we did when the text B. There was a link between the words and the visual. In advertisement, we'll definitely find the same thing. Contact details. What have they included? Are the social media logos available? And you have to be on the lookout for these little guys, Facebook and Twitter. How can the reader get more information about the advertised product? This is the question we love to ask you. So see whether there's a telephone number, is there a street address, is there a Facebook handle, a website, what can you find? Obviously, when it's not included, well, that says something else as well. That might be something negative about the advertisement, because if there isn't any way to contact the advertiser, what's the use? Right. So we've got a website, Facebook, Twitter, the whole thing. Right. So here's our advertisement. And I'm sure the first thing you noticed was the visuals, because this is the first thing we look at. And I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to run through this advertisement to show you what are the clever details that are included that you might have missed. So it says, we know you have big dreams, we'll get you started. And then there's a lot of information there at the bottom. Shape your future by making the right choice right now. Apply the skills you learned today in the workplace tomorrow. Choose from courses in IT, accounting, management, marketing, business communication, secretarial, hospitality, travel, sports management, UNISA, BC, Compt, support, and more. SMS CEO and your name to 45139 and we'll get you started. And then on the right hand side, it says Boston. It says over 40 tuition centers nationwide. And we have a little handle there that says boston.co.za. And we have a little Facebook and a little Twitter picture. And if you look at the pictures, there's quite a lot of things there. Right. Let's unpack it. Now, let's look at the visual clues. So we're only focusing now on what we can see, visual clues. And I want to show you how clever these guys really are. So first of all, we've got number one, we've got buildings. Can you see here? We've got buildings here. And then at the background here, where there's big number one, you'll see more buildings. Can you see it here? This is your dreams, and this seems to be reality. Right. Obviously, these buildings represent corporate, like working in a major big building, or it can be flats or it's buildings. But it moved from your dreams to reality. Let's look at the next one. The next one is this little 2 here, and it shows us a graduation cup. Now, this is obviously important. We all want to have a degree or a diploma, and we need to study further because we know how important it is in our country. So by including this, they're saying, you know what, you can come study with us. We will make sure you graduate. We will make sure you have a degree or a diploma or whatever you want to. You are going to graduate. In other words, you're going to learn new skills. Very clever, just a little cut, but it suggests so much more. Right, our little 3, can you see the little 3 here? This refers to, obviously, it looks like a rocket, and it's going up, suggesting the idea of reaching for the sky, going up, dream big, because we have this whole thing that says big dreams. Right, what's next? Let's see, what do we have? We have a little light bulb. Now, obviously, when you see this, we always see this in cartoons. A little light bulb always means a new idea, which means you're going to be innovative. Oh, and if you're innovative, you're going to make new things. If you make new things, you're going to make a lot of money. Can you see how it starts with a little light bulb, but it actually means so much more? Can you see how they've included everything? Now, we've got a little 5 here, the 1 here, and that's car keys. Now, obviously, I'm sure car keys and sunglasses, I'm sure this is part of your dream one day, to own a beautiful car. Obviously, remember, this is big dreams. We know you have big dreams, and this is part of your big dreams. The matter difference is that this is not part of your dream anymore. This is reality. Can you see? We can see this is the real thing. These little pictures on the side are all part of dreams. This is the real thing. So, if you start dreaming about it, what will these guys do? We'll get you started. In other words, you will end up with a dream car and the sunglasses and the corporate life. Right. Big is written in big letters. I'm sure you can see that. And as you can see, that was the first thing that grabbed your attention. I'm sure it did. And they're very clever because they say, we know you've got big dreams. And we have all these big dreams. And then they come with this little thing that says, we'll get you started. Wow, isn't that amazing? So that was the visual clues. Can you see small little things that they've added? But it's going to stay in the back of your mind, and it's going to be like, oh, these guys are ticking all my boxes. I really want to graduate. I really want to be rich one day. I want to have that dream car. I want to reach for the stars. I want to be innovative. They're very clever. So let's go to the written clues. Now, remember, written is the words. Now, again, they're very clever. Every word is important. So let's see what they've done. Now, the first thing, they've got repetition. And repetition is always one thing to reinforce or emphasize the idea. So, shape your future by making the right choice right now. Right choice right now. Can you see? Repetition, alliteration, emphasis. And then the next thing they have, look at this. Today, tomorrow. So not only today, we will do the future for you as well. Apply the skills you learn today in the workplace tomorrow. Wow, they're really saying that they are in there with the times. Whatever you're learning today, you will be able to use tomorrow. And then they've got a list of courses: IT, accounting, sports management, travel, a whole lot of courses that they've included for you. Obviously to entice you, because we're not all people who like accounting, but I might like travel or sports management. Can you see they cater for quite a lot of people? Right. Now look how clever these guys are. SMS CEO. Mm-hmm. Do you know what a CEO is? Do you know? Yes, of course. It's an abbreviation. And that means corporate executive officer. They're very clever. They're really saying to you, you wonder you're going to be the CEO of a company. So why don't you just start now and SMS to us, CEO? It's as clever as that. And look what they do now. They have, and you just see where's my number 4, they've included the contact info. Remember, we said this is quite important because how are we going to contact them? Because they asked us, give us SMS, and we've got a number here that we have. If you want more information, we can go to bostonco.za or Facebook or Twitter. They literally covered all the bases. They go even further, and they say that they've got over 40 tuition centres nationwide. So maybe you're sitting in Pofadder or the R and you're thinking, I don't know whether I'll be able to get to these people. Well, they've got 40 tuition centres. I'm sure you'll be able to get one. Right. And it's really amazing how they've included everything in this short little piece. Can you see how important it is? I want to show you another thing. They keep on using these words. We will get you started. And again, remember, it's repetition, emphasis. We are there for you. We are going to help you. We'll get you started. You've got the dreams. We'll get you there. Very clever. Right. It's almost like they're saying we're on your side. Now, as I said, remember, this has just taken me a few minutes to analyze. I haven't jumped to the questions yet, just to look at what they are saying. And by doing this, I know exactly what to look for when I go to my question. Now, look at the advertisement again, and now I'm going to ask you questions. Now, first question, obviously, who's going to be interested in this advertisement? Oh, that's an easy one. Grade 12 learners? Yes, definitely. People who want to study, or people want to make a career change. Now, remember, this is your target audience we're talking about. Now, remember what I said. You can't just say people. I want to know who. People who want to study. Very, very important. Another question we always love to ask you. Is this advertisement effective? In other words, does it convince you to call that number or to SMS CEO to that number? Now, again, open-ended question. You can decide yes or no, but always refer back to what it says in the advertisement. So I've got 2 options for you here. We can say yes. Why? Because there's a variety of courses. Remember, we listed them, we saw them in yellow, and it suggests that you're going to be successful one day. Remember, there's the car keys and the sunglasses and the big buildings. So they suggest that if you start studying at Boston, you will be successful. And this is one reason why this is a good advertisement. But I can always say no. I can say no. No, this doesn't appeal to me. And what is the basic reason I can say? Not all the courses that's listed there interest me. Maybe I'm interested in something completely different that Boston is not offering me. In that way, I'm not interested in this. Maybe I'm not interested in corporate life. Maybe I would rather prefer to be outside in nature, which is just basically the opposite of his advertisement. Now, if you can refer to me and tell me, in this advertisement, it's all about corporate life, I'm not interested in it, I'm more interested in wildlife, or I'm interested in courses that are not offered here, and that's why it will not entice me. Can you see what I'm doing? Referring back to the text. Okay. Now, here's some questions. I'm sure this is going to be so easy for you. Now, obviously, we ask, why is the word big written in larger font? You knew this question was going to come, isn't it? And the next thing is, why does the advertiser include the visuals of a car keys? And can you see what I've done here? I hope you notice this. I've taken the question words and I've done them in red. And what I'm doing is I'm actually tackling my questions. I'm underlining, what do they want? Why is big in a larger font? So this is where my focus is. Why did they write a big in a larger font? Why did they include the car keys? And this is what I would like you to do when you get your question paper and you start doing your questions. Analyze your question. Sometimes our learners say to us, I didn't know what to say. I knew what the answer was, but I didn't understand exactly what they wanted. Go back to your question. Did you underline your question word? Did you figure out what is it exactly what they want? Now, if you do this, it's easier to find out the correct answer. So, I hope you've written them down. Here's another one. It says, quote 4 consecutive words. This is important. So, quote, remember, every time with all questions, you have to write in your own words, unless you are asked to quote. Now, in this case, you are asked to quote. And they're very specific. They say 4 consecutive words. Now, remember, consecutive means the one after the other. That from the text, so you have to get it out here, which suggests that Boston College is willing to assist students. So that's my key idea. Willing to assist. So I'm looking for 4 words that shows me they're willing to assist their students. Right. Did you get that? I'm sure you did. Now remember this, consecutive. You're going to see it quite often. You might find it in the comprehension. You might find it in cartoons or advertisements. You might even find it in your literature paper. One word after the other. Not 4 random words. One word after the other. Right, and here we go. Another little question. Why has the advertiser included the words over 40 tuition centers? Can you see, these are the type of questions we'd like to ask. Now, after you've analyzed it, these questions become so easy because we have actually discussed them. Now, let's see, and let's go back. So, remember the first question, why is the word big written in big letters or in a larger font? Now, if ever words are written in a larger font or you have a picture that's bigger than other pictures, obviously it's to grab your attention, obviously. But it's also there to emphasize, but you can't just tell me to emphasize. To emphasize what? To emphasize that you study at Boston College, your big dreams will be realized. Now remember, always give me all the information. Can't just say to emphasize. To emphasize what? Okay, so be very careful when you answer that. Now, the second one is, why did they include the visual of a car keys? Now, the idea is, again, to emphasize that if you study at Boston, they will realize your dreams of owning a car or owning a very specific car. Now, it doesn't matter which car you like. It's a fact that you will be able to have your own car one day. And that might be a big dream for a lot of people. Now, or you could have said, and maybe you've noticed it, there's a play on words. Remember they said, we'll get you started? Very clever. And now, they'll get you started is like referring to a car. If you start a car to move forward, obviously Boston College will ensure that we start your life or your career. Can you see what we do? We include all possible answers in the memorandum, but it always refers back to the text. So it's not a random answer, it always refers back to the text. Right, let's see the next one. So, and this is the 4 words we were looking for. Remember, we're looking for 4 consecutive words to prove that they will assist their students. Now, we'll get you started. These are my 4 words, and I just include the exclamation mark because it's part of a sentence. We'll get you started. All right, it's as easy as that. So, let's try another one. And in this case, I'm going to give you the chance to do this. So I've got an advertisement here. It says, meet the Sea Harvest fish fingers. Captain Crisp, always golden at crunch time. We have Omega Mind, big on Omega, big on brain power. And we've got the Incredible Hike, the leanest, meanest protein. Mom's Mealtime Heroes. And we've got the product here and it says new. So I want you to take a few minutes and just quickly make on your page, just make a quick few notes of the little things that you are picking up, just like we've analyzed the previous advertisement. See if you can pick up on things that are cleverly done in this case. Now, to help you, I found the colorful version of the advertisement. So if this is going to help you even more. Amazing what color does. It's really amazing. So, do you want me to give you a few clues? But let's just quickly see things. All right, so the first thing you should see, I'm sure you first saw the fish fingers. You know, we always look at pictures first. So we saw the 3 fish fingers, and we can see they fish fingers, obviously, but they're a little bit different because this one looks quite mean. He looks like he has muscles, and this one reminds me almost of a superhero, right? Has a little cape, and he has like a tomato. It's used as a shield. Can you see that? And this fish finger, and we are represented with ladies as well, lady fish fingers, have a little book here, and I don't know if you can see there's a little sign there on the book, and I think it comes out of physics. Looks like an infinity or something sign. In any case, so we've got 3 fish fingers, and can you see there's the fish fingers again here on the package? I'm just quickly noting little things here. Can you see the logo is repeated here as well? Right. And then they've got Captain Crisp, Omega Mind, the Incredible Hike. Incredible Hike reminds me of the Incredible Hulk, leanest, meanest protein. And obviously we see the new, and we always like new things. And they have included the product. Now, this is always interesting when they include a product, obviously to make it easier for the consumer, because I will remember this picture. I would like this, and then when I see this product on the shelf, I would say, oh, yes, I remember the fish fingers. I remember Captain Chris, an Incredible Hike, and Omega Mind. And your mealtime heroes, now I think in the previous one it said Mom's mealtime heroes. But can you see the hero idea comes out? They've got little capes and they're strong and big on brain power. It's actually very clever done, right? Very clever. Right, let's see what you can figure out. So this is our questions. Now it's your turn. I'm going to give you the questions. There they are. If there's 3 questions for you. So first one, who's the target audience? Now remember, on this one, be careful. You have to be very specific. The name Captain Chris is an advertisement and is example of. So we're looking for a word here. What word can you give me? And explain how the brand Sea Harvest is related to the advertised product. Okay, this is a bit more difficult question. So just see if you can quickly figure this one out. So question 1 was a target audience. Number 2, we've got Captain Chris, and we want to know what kind of example this is. And the next one is we want to know how this little brand, the Sea Harvest brand, is related to the product. What is the product? The product is obviously fishing is. So how do these two fit together? And this kind of question will obviously count about 2 marks. This one is a 1 mark. And this will be a 1 mark one. Right. Let's go. And I'm sure you've got it. Let's try the next one. So the next question is, again, so you see the same question pops up every time. Quote 4 consecutive words from the advertisement which suggest that fish fingers can increase one's intelligence. Remember, we're looking for 4 consecutive words, one after the other. We have to quote them, which means we have to find them in the text. We have to put them in inverted commas. And we have to make sure they are spelled correctly. Right. 5. How do the visual aspects of the advertisement support the words, your mealtime heroes? Remember, they changed it here to say mom's mealtime heroes. I think our focus is here on the fact that it's heroes. So how do the visuals support the words? Can you see? These are all the same questions we've been doing the whole time. Sure, you can do this. And of course, the most important question, does the advertiser succeed in convincing the reader to buy this? In other words, are you going to buy this after reading this? Okay, let's go through your answers quickly. Right. This is a target audience, people who prepare meals, people who like fish, and we can either say people who are health conscious. We can't just say people, and very specifically, obviously, people who eat fish. That's as straightforward as can be. Remember Captain Crisp? And we had the alliteration of the 2 C's. So we're looking for one word is an example of alliteration. I'm sure you've got that one. And, oh, this was the one that's quite difficult. Remember the Sea Harvest? And we wanted to know how does the brand fit in. Remember we had the brand on one side. And we wanted to know how the brand fits in with the product. Now let's go. The fish fingers are made from fish that are harvested from the sea. Do you remember what was our brand? Our brand was Sea Harvest. And you see what we've done here. Fish fingers, that's our product, are connected to Sea Harvest because they're made from the sea and they harvested from the sea, and this is my brand. How clever is that? All right, so we can ask you a question like that, definitely. And we had to ask you, oh yes, we wanted to 4 words, 4 consecutive words on it's good for your brains, big on brain power. Right, that's an easy one. And now the other one was, how do the words put in, obviously, with the pictures. Now, so we say the fish fingers are little superheroes, and they're going to help you to make your meals tasty and nutritious. Remember, they look like little superheroes. We saw the cape and everything, and obviously, because of that, your meals will be extra tasty and nutritious. So clever. And obviously, our last question is, was the advertisement effective? Are you going to buy now our very famous superhero fish fingers? And we can say yes. Remember, they've included the benefits, and we focus on the fact that there's benefits. It's going to be really good for you. It's obviously very healthy, and people who want healthy food is going to buy this. This is very good. Or we could say no, this is not going to work. On the other hand, remember, fish fingers are actually processed food. So it might not be as healthy as we think it is. Right. So on the one hand, we could say, yes, it's healthy because they listed the benefits. They said omega-3, it's good for your mind, brain power. But on the other hand, fish fingers is part of processed food. Remember, they catch the fish and they process it into a fish finger. And therefore, it might not be as healthy as it seems. Well, whichever way, remember the rules, either yes or no, and a very good reason referring back to your text. We're still busy with a visual text on paper 1, and we've just completed text B of a comprehension and the advertisement. So we're moving on to obviously to the cartoons. Now, again, there are some questions that are always asked, and when you study for your paper 1, take any cartoon and just use these questions to make sure you are able to understand the cartoon. Let's run through them quickly. What is the setting? In other words, where are the people? Look at their facial expressions, body language, gestures. Look how light and dark has been used. Look at each picture or each frame on its own. What is in front? What did they put in the back? And what's in the center? Look at the words. Is there words included in speech bubbles? Are the words in thought bubbles? And how do the words support what you see in the cartoon? Now, if you look at the different speech bubbles, why have they been used? Remember again, the cartoonist will include minute detail that is actually extremely important. And you have to make sure you know that. Now, once again, visual and verbal clues. These are two sets of terminology we often see in question papers. Visual clues is what you see. That refers to your body language, your facial expression, posture, the drawing itself. So focus on exactly what you see and pretend the person marking your paper can't see the cartoon. You have to tell us everything. Now, your verbal clues are all the words. Look at rhetorical questions, repetitions, dialogue, sound, anything that has to do with words. Those are your verbal clues. Make sure you understand those two concepts. So I've got a cartoon for you. It's a short little one. It says, Nancy and Sligo are such a pair. They are so in sync. We have to be. Sligo doesn't have his own pair of earbuds. Okay, yeah, you find it, but I'm sure you relate to this. How many times did it happen that you had to share your earbuds with a friend? Now, remember, before you start the questions, analyze each frame. So let's quickly see if we can do this. Again, we start at the beginning. What is the setting? Well, it looks like we're in a park. There's a path, there's trees, the grass. Remember, always try to find the evidence for your answer. If you say it's a park, how do you know it's in a park? It's obviously not in a forest because then you'd have a lot of trees. That's why I say a park. Let's look at the position. What's in front? Now, we've got a person in front on the left-hand side who's obviously looking at Nancy and Slugger, and he's making a comment about them. How do I know this? Well, there's this little speech bubble. Right, so we see Nancy and Slugger walking in the path, and we see this guy, and you can see he's much closer, and he's making a comment about them. So let's talk about their body language. Now, in this frame, we can see they're walking next to each other. They are looking straight ahead. They're not looking at the person. And we can see if you look closely, their little feet are raised from the ground, ready to take the next step. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm literally writing down every single bit of information I see. Now, let's look at the words. There are words. Let's explain these words quickly. We know that Nancy is the girl and Sluggo is the boy. This is just funny. It says that they are such a pair. A pair obviously means two. They are two people. That's clever. They are in sync. Now, in sync, if you're not quite sure what that means, you'll have to look at the picture to try and figure this out, because this might be a word you're not familiar with. Now, if you are in sync, it means you are synchronized. You are working together. So you are perfectly in sync. Now, you'll notice that I've included the little slug here. Look at Sluggo's name. The word slug appears in his name. Just keep that at the back of your mind. Obviously, as I say, the cartoonists have decided to call this guy Sluggo. Right. So how do the words support the picture? Remember, the word says they are in sync, they are a pair. So how do the words connect with our picture? It's easy. Now, again, on your screen, you'll see I've enhanced this little picture. Their feet are raised from the ground. They are walking together. They are walking in sync. Next to each other, perfectly. When his feet is up, her feet is up. Right. Now, let's go to frame 2. Now, look at this case. Very interesting. Now, we focus on their facial expression. Now, the camera has zoomed in to their facial expressions, and you can see they're both looking at that person. We can't see that person anymore, but they're looking at the person, and it looks like even their facial expressions are in sync. They are both looking at the person at the same time. Can you see that? Clever, eh? Right. Now, why do they have to be in sync? Now, because Nancy says here, we have to be, meaning we have to be in sync. Now, the question is, why do they have to be in sync? Now, we don't know, and we will only get the answer in frame 3. And if we get to frame 3, how do the words support what we see? And here you see Sluggo doesn't have his own pair of earbuds. And now for the first time, you can actually see that they are sharing a pair of earbuds. Now, if you have a question like this, how do the words support what you see? Look at the words first. Word says, Nancy says they're sharing earbuds. And the picture says, we see that they have an earbud in each ear. Can you see how the words are supported by the picture? And that now it makes sense why they're walking together. The cord is short. If one walks faster than the other one, then the earbud's going to fall out. So they have to walk in sync. That's clever, right? Right. Now, again, let's open-ended question. I know I've been talking about this the whole time. I want to remind you, always use the peel method. And if you can't remember, think of our little guy peeling an onion. So when you do the peel method, make your statement. In other words, you say, yes, it is effective, or no, it's not effective. Give me an example from the text. That's your best proof always. Give me an example to say why you say something. Explain it to me. Answer the question why or so what. If you can answer that, then I know you're going to start. And then link it back. And if you see there's peel, it's called the peel method. It just makes sense, doesn't it? All right. So, and here's our open-ended question then. Do you think Nancy has done the right thing to share her earbuds with Slugger? I would have asked you, do you feel empathy for Slugger? Then do you feel sorry for Slugger? And give us reasons for your answers. and this is why I showed you the little slug when I showed you his name. We can empathize with Slugger because he has to walk in sync with Nancy so that he can listen to music. We know they are sharing earbuds. We know that. But he doesn't look happy. There isn't even a smile on his face. And maybe he's like a little slug. Doesn't like walking fast. But now he has to walk fast or he has to walk in sync. Otherwise, he won't be able to listen to the music. Any case, so this is just an example. Here's some language questions. Remember, you'll get a language question or two in the cartoon and advertisement. So I just have a number that I can answer that we can ask you. I can ask you to write the word sync out in full. I can ask you to the use of the apostrophe. I can ask you to write Nancy's words in reported speech. I can ask you to do the homophone of pair. I can ask you to do a tag. Can you see how many questions there is? So while you're doing your cartoon, always think of language questions. Now, remember, next week Friday, or this week Friday, I will be discussing language questions for you. And then we will focus on some of these very serious language questions, things that we know are often asked, like apostrophe and reported speech and homophones and homonyms. And obviously, just to show you a pear, it would be a pear. Mom put a pear in my lunchbox. And Doug Slugger doesn't have his own earbuds. That's it. Right. So that's just a quick one to show you what we can ask. I wanted to move on to this one. This is a very interesting one. We've got a cartoon here, and we've got Helga. She's the woman, and Helga is the man. And, whoa, there's some confusion here. Let's see. Let me run through here quickly. Helga is saying, I've been ironing clothes, washing windows, scrubbing floors, and you just sit there waiting for me to bring you a snack. What does that say about you? And he answers, I'm patient. Right. I'm sure it's funny. Now, I want to focus here on body language. Now, be careful. You can't just say body language. You have to focus on facial expression, body positions, hands and arms. So these are things that you have to focus on. And you have to be, once again, very specific when you answer our questions. Tell me what the eyes are doing. Tell me what the hands are doing. Tell me what the posture is. Leaning forward. It'd be leaning backwards. Very, very important. Just like this person in front here. Now, what I've done, I wanted to show you this. I took out Helga out from the little cartoon strip and have placed her in sequence. So this is frame 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and 3. And this is how you analyze the text. So just to give you an idea, now you can say clearly, she's holding an iron in one hand in frame 1. Her other hand is at her side and her eyes are small. But now in frame 2, she's leaning forward. She's lifted one finger and her mouth is open. But look at frame 3. Now her hands are outstretched. She's leaning forward. Her eyes are wide open. Her mouth is open. Can you see the progression that's taking place? But can you see how I focus on the eyes, the mouth, the hands, the posture? Right. And the only thing I'm busy doing here is I'm literally just analyzing every little frame quickly. Now, let's go to frame 4, 5, and 6. And if you put them like this, it's really amazing to see this. Now, in frame 4, she's pointing at him. Her other hand is at her side. Eyes are small. Can you see her eyebrows are pointing downwards? And that shows us that she's getting really angry now. You know, frustration is building up. Now, frame 5, this is almost like climax, or building up to the climax, leaning forward, hands at her side, mouth is wide open. Remember, wide open, not wild, wide. There's little lines in front of the mouth that show she's shouting. Her eyes are wide open. And then we've got this complete change in frame 6. She's standing upright. Her eyes are small. Her mouth is not visible. So if you can't see the mouth, you tell me the mouth is not visible. Okay, so now we just focus on Helga. But what happens with Helga? Now, this is really interesting. You will see from frame 1 to frame 6, he hasn't moved. His arms are folded. His mouth is closed, or you could say it's not visible. His feet are stretched out in front of him. He's sitting in a chair. He's calm. He's relaxed. He hasn't moved a muscle. Helga doing all these gestures, moving forward and backwards and pointing and everything. He's just sitting there, not moving a muscle. Right. Now let's look at your verbal clues. Now remember, we did the visuals. Let's look at the verbal ones. And this is what she says. She says, I've been ironing clothes, ... I've been washing windows, ... I've been scrubbing floors, ... Now, dots are what we call ellipses. Now, that shows us the list goes on. And with every frame, frustration is building up. And then we've got this build up to the climax where it says, what does that say about you? And you know she's shouting. The words are in bold. Can you see that? We've got an exclamation mark and a question mark. And then we end with this. And this is why the cartoon is so funny. And we're obviously going to ask you why this is funny. He uses what we call an anticlimax. We expect something huge to happen. And Olga just says, well, that's fine. I'm patient. I'll wait for you. So you can go on screaming. I'll still wait for you to bring me my snack. Now, her frustration is rising in every frame. And in frame 5, she screams at him, and we expect Olga to react to the scream. But he's not moving. He just says, I'm patient. And that's what makes it funny. Right. So, what are the kind of questions we can ask you? And I've answered some of these questions already. I can ask you why there are ellipses. I can ask you to explain the differences between Hagar and Helga. Now, when you got a question like this, remember, always refer to the one and the other and show me clearly what are the differences. How do we know that she's shouting? State 2 points. Remember now, 2 very different facts that you have to give me. And we talked about the humor. Right. And of course, we can ask you this question. Do you think her reaction is acceptable? Well, that's up to you to think that one out. Right. So I'm not going to jump for these answers because we've listed most of them. But the most important fact for me here is you have to pretend I cannot see the picture. Tell me everything. Tell me about the little lines in front of her mouth. Tell me her mouth is open wide. Tell me her words are in bold. Right. There we go. And obviously we have a high-end question, open question. Is it what she's doing acceptable? Yes, maybe, because she's been doing everything. Or no. Can't shout at people. That's not nice. Now, again, we've got a whole list of language questions. And what I'll do is on Friday, I'll go through these language questions with you. Because on Friday, we'll be looking at all the language questions, getting you ready for your paper 1 on Monday. Right. I'm not going to give you all these answers. Let's jump through them quickly. I will discuss them for you on Friday. Right. You see, they're very interesting. So I hope you've learned quite a lot of things today. And I'm sure you'll be able to now understand advertisement, understand cartoons, understand body language, identify a consumer, and I'm sure you'll be ready for visual text in paper 1. A last word, if you believe in yourself, anything is possible. Best of luck for the exams. Study hard. Thank you for watching this lesson. Thank you and goodbye.